Hey Bible lovers, I'm Tim Nichols, and I'm here to bring you your Nichols Worth in a brand new release from Holman, also known as Lifeway Bibles. We have the CSB Personal Size Reference Bible. This thing is absolutely amazing. They also have this in a goatskin edition with the raised hubs. I just wanted the plain Jane leather touch cover, and I actually like this color. This olive green is pretty slick, y'all. It's got some tooled out hubs. I don't know how they do that on this. I doubt they use an actually tooling device. This is probably machine done. It's got the little olive stamped on the cover for the olive green. And check it out, a little bit of accent stitching there. It's not the same color green, so kind of dig that. Single ribbon, come on, man. You give us at least 2 ribbons. But you know what? That's not too hard to replace. The gilding looks pretty solid on this. So very pleased with the gilding on this. Paper liner, it does seem to have a little bit of reinforcement, but ultimately that paper is going to give way if you use this very heavily. This is definitely a great rebind candidate because it actually has the really nice Bible paper. I'm not exactly sure what GSM this paper is, but it does seem pretty thick. I'm going to say 30 to 33-ish. But what's really cool about this, in the Handcrafted edition and in this edition, you're going to get the very same experience from a text block perspective. You're going to have those beautiful red accents. I love accents on a Bible. It's not bad to have it in all black, and I don't have an issue with that, but there is something about having a little color reward here and there. So what you have in this is you have red verse numbers, you have your red chapter headers, red page numbers, and then you have red accents on your references, and then you have a little red line dividing your text from your notes. So it's just every page you get this nice little red reward here and there. And just beautifully laid out Bible in a paragraph format, except for when you're in your poetry. Your poetry has that right justified. Let's go ahead and go to a poetic section so you can see it all the way through. There's something about poetry looking like poetry. The gutter is a little tight here, but it's actually not bad. It seems to be a little worse in the poetic settings than it does in, say, your standard reading settings. But overall, this is a phenomenal Bible with those references. And one thing I like about this is it lets you know where each reference starts with the chapter. So it starts at the beginning of chapter 7, and it lets you know these are the references for chapter 7 until you get to the end of the references for chapter 7, and then you're into the references for chapter 8. So I thought that was nice. I also like that they don't separate them and keep them all wonky. They just put them together, because some will put some at the top, some at the bottom, depending on the chapter, but they just let you know when a new chapter starts by introducing it by that chapter number when you get to that point in your references, which I think is a really nice way to handle that. Chapter 12 and on. Footnotes at the bottom. One really cool thing about the CSB is whenever the Old Testament is being quoted, it's going to have it in that bold, and it lets you know that that's an Old Testament reference, and a lot of times it'll be referenced down here at the bottom in the footnotes and also in the referencing system. But just really nice. When you get to the end, after the book of Revelation, you're going to have a nice CSB concordance. I don't like that they make these concordances in such a small font, but this one actually isn't the worst I've seen. It's not too bad. And of course, when you get to the end, you've got those really nice flat cardstock Holman maps. They don't have that gloss, so they won't shine in some light. But what I want to do is a little bit of a comparison. First of all, before we dive into anything else, publishers, we got to standardize. Okay, because according to Holman, this and this are both a personal size Bible. Now, as you can see, they are very different sized. This is in that like 9-ish by 5.5-ish range, and this is in more of that 7-ish by 5-ish or 4.5-ish range, depending on some, but that, y'all, is a compact Bible. So let's just standardize. Okay, you ready? All right, boys and girls, here we go. Let's do some Mr. Rogers action here. Can you say full-size Bible, boys and girls? What? I knew you could. Can you say personal size? There you go. Can you say compact? I knew you could. I am so proud of you all. So Holman, let's standardize this. This is a full size. This is a personal size. This is a compact. This is the way. Just ask the Mandalorian. Anyhow, all that ranting aside, let's compare this with what this has essentially upgraded in my mind, and that is the personal size Bible large print from before. Now let's get to some spaces where we're in storybook or paragraph format so we can compare apples to apples here. You can see this is a 9-point font. This is a 10, which actually looks a little bit more like an 11 in my eyes. But there is a significant difference in the font size. That is definitely a sacrifice. So you're going to get the same size Bible, but you're going to get all these references. You get your text out of the gutter. You get all these extra tools in this Bible with no references here, full references here, and it does cost you a little bit in the area of font size. So just to give you an up-close comparison of the font size, you can see that is a pretty good size difference there. So that is a sacrifice. This is a 10, this is a 9. This actually looks more like a true 9. This really, in my mind, looks more like an 11. So that's a big difference. But if you can handle a little bit of a different font size, a little bit of a smaller font size, you get that text out of that gutter, because that's a big complaint. See how that rolls down in that gutter to where you're having to reach down for that text. The text here starts well outside the gutter. Granted, this one is edge line, this one is not. So with that edge line tab, it is going to cause that to rise up a little bit, but let's just go ahead and rise it up manually. Even if you give it that much, you're still well out of that gutter. So this is an excellent layout. Just really love everything about it. As a matter of fact, I've got a top 5 video of my top 5 CSBs that I'll go ahead and put on the end screen of this video, and you're going to see how this Bible actually knocked this one all the way out of my top 5 because I love it so much. I just simply replaced this one with this one. I can handle the smaller font size, and it's really not that bad at all. First of all, it's got really good lettering space, the layout, the darkness of the font. This is a Bible serif font, by the way. It just really has everything you need in order to have a really good, pleasant reading experience. When you get to the New Testament, the words of Christ are going to be in black, so no red letter in this edition. But this is truly a premium text block, and of course it has a sewn binding and all those things you would expect in a really nice Bible. And this comes at a really affordable price. God bless you. Keep calm. Jesus on. This is your Nicholsworth.